morning, everyone. Good morning, Yousef. In this occasion, we would like to present our presentation. Today's material is Malay, Chinese, and Indian accent. But before we start, let us introduce ourselves. Starting from me, my name is Aisyah Al-Kautsar as a moderator, and I'm Rahmadini. I'm Nadila, Putri, and I'm Aulia Rahmi. And then there is one of the member who's not be able to attend today, Briliana. The first material will be delivered by Alya. Alya, Phonetics.
The Malay language, spoken in countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, and Singapore, has variation in accent. Its own regional differences. It's important to note that there isn't a single Malay accent, but rather a range. So note that there isn't a single Malay accent, but rather a range of accent influenced by factors such as geographic location, cultural context, and exposure to other language. So there is an aspect in Malay accent. The first one is vowel sounds. The second is consonant pronunciation, and the third is intonation, and fourth is word stress. In the vowel sounds, Malay tends to have a simpler vowel system compared to English. And in Malay accent English, vowel sounds may be pronounced more distinctly or differently from standard English. And in consonant pronunciation, some consonant sounds in Malay may differ from English. And for the example, the pronunciation of certain consonants like R and O might be influenced by Malay phonetics. And the third is intonation. The melody or pitch pattern of speech, known as intonation, may be influenced by Malay speech patterns. This can affect the overall pitch and flow of spoken English. And the fourth is word stress. The stress pattern in Malay differ from English, and in Malay accent English, the placement of stress on syllables within words might follow Malay patterns. For example, in English sentence, "Hello, how are you today? Did you have a good time at the party yesterday?" And in Malay accent English representation is, "Hello, how are you today? Did you have a good time at the party yesterday?"
Okay, the next material will be delivered by Alya.
Okay, so I would like to explain about Chinese accent. Chinese accent in English can vary widely depending on factors such as the native language spoken, regional influences, and individual differences. It's crucial to note that there isn't a singular Chinese accent due to the diversity of language spoken across China and among Chinese community globally. Mandarin, Cantonese, Hokkien, and other Chinese language have distinct phonetic features that can influence English pronunciation. And there are some aspects in Chinese accent. The Chinese accent in English can exhibit various aspects influenced by the phonetic characteristic of the native Chinese languages, such as Mandarin, Cantonese, or others. Here are some general aspects of Chinese accent in English. The first one is tonal influence. Mandarin Chinese is a tonal language, which means that the pitch or tone in which a word is pronounced can change its meaning. Chinese speakers might bring tonal elements into their English speech, affecting the pitch patterns and rhythms. speakers, depending on their native language, may have distinct ways of pronouncing certain English consonants. For example, the R and I sound might be challenging, and some speaker might request one with the other. And there is vowel sounds. The pronunciation of English vowel sounds may be influenced by the vowel sounds in the native Chinese language. Some vowel sounds in English might be pronounced differently or with variations. And there is word stress and rhythm. English has a different stress and rhythm pattern compared to Chinese languages. Chinese speakers might carry over the stress patterns of their native language into English, impacting the overall flow of speech. And there is aspiration of consonants. In some Chinese language, the aspiration of consonants, present or absence of a bird of air accompanying the pronunciation of a consonant, can differ from English. This might affect the pronunciation of words containing aspirated consonants like P, T, and K. And the last one is syntactic and grammatical differences. Chinese language have different sentence structures and word order compared to English. Chinese speakers might unintentionally follow Chinese syntactic patterns when speaking English, leading to variation in sentence construction. And this is an example for the sentence and Chinese accent in English. I want to go to the library to borrow some books. And Chinese accent in English. I want to go to the library to borrow some books. It will explain by the video later. I return to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Alya. And then the next material in the lesson will be delivered by Anna.
Okay, the Indian accent in English can exhibit various aspects. The term Indian accent is quite broad, as India is a linguistically diverse country with numerous language and dialects spoken across its regions. English is also widely spoken in India, and there are various variations in how English is pronounced based on factors such as the speaker's native language, region, and exposure to English. Aspects in Indian accent. First one is vowel pronunciation. Indian languages often have a rich variety of vowel sounds. In an Indian accent like English, there may be variations in the pronunciation of certain English vowels, and distinctions between certain vowel pairs may differ from the standard English. The next one is consonant pronunciation. The pronunciation of certain consonant sounds such as B, F, B, V, N, W or W, and the sounds may be influenced by the speaker's native language. For example, some Indian speakers may pronounce V or W or replace certain V sounds with similar sounds from their native language. The next is intonation and rhythm. The intonation, patterns, and rhythm of Indian language can influence the prosody of English words spoken by Indian speakers. This might include variations in pitch, stress, and timing. 4. Aspiration of consonants. Aspiration pattern in Indian languages can affect the way English consonants are pronounced. Some Indian speakers may not aspirate certain consonants in the same way as speakers of English varieties. often have their own stress patterns, and this can influence the way English words are expressed. The placement of stress on syllables within words may differ from standard English. And the last one is flat-T. Some Indian English speakers might use a flat sound for the T sound in certain positions, similar to how it might be pronounced in their native language. For example, water might be pronounced as water.
Okay. Another example, the English sentence is, can you guys read the English sentence? One of you? Or maybe you can help me to read the English sentence.
Can you please pass me the salt and paper?
Okay, thank you. So, in the English sentence is, can you please pass me the salt and the pepper? But in the accent in English, in the Indian accent in English, so please correct you if I'm wrong, but can you please help me pass the salt and the pepper? And maybe some of them put another like slang in the front of in the end of the sentence like, hey, can you please pass me the salt and the pepper? And now the English sentence.
No, excuse me, this calculator got discount, no? I see the price here says 250, but here is 280, got discount, no? How much is it, Hey, wait for me, I'm on the way already. 2 minutes reaching already, Hey, 2 minutes ago you cannot wait, All the time I wait for you, 2 minutes ago you cannot wait for me, Wait, Hello, I want to make a complaint. So I already paid my phone bill. But today, DG called me and said I'm not yet paid my phone bill. So how are we going to settle this?
Okay, is there any question? Yes.
How does the Indian accent influence intonation and writing speech? And are there distinct perception or stereotype associated with the Indian accent in media?
Thank you.
My name is Singaperbangsa Karawang from group number 1. As far as I know, there is a lot of mocking about this different accent. And so my question is, how do you act towards differences about differences between all of them? I mean the accents.
If there's no questions, okay guys, thank you for your waiting. And now we will answer the questions. The first question is from Rizky, will be answered by Anna.
Okay. The question from Yousef is, how does the Indian accent influence intonation and rhythm in speech? And are there perceptions or stereotypes associated with the Indian accent media? So the answer is, the Indian accent can influence intonation and rhythm in speech due to the unique cadence and musicality of Indian English. The perception of the Indian accent varies, and there are stereotypes associated with it in the media. Indian English is characterized by differences in speech rhythm, intonation, and segmental differences compared to British English. Some people find the musical nursery rhyme quality of the Indian accent off-putting, especially in dramatic scenes. Additionally, there are efforts by individuals to modify their accent to sound more natural or native to a particular region, such as in Canada. The Indian accent is diverse, influenced by the various official language and regional differences in India.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, the last question is from Devka, will be answered by Aulia.
The first question is how do we add to our differences between many accents? Because as far as I know, there is a lot of mock or insult about having a different accent than usual accent. So the answer is treating accents. Respect is essential, but encourage a culture of inclusivity by following linguistic diversity, avoiding mockery or insults, promotes understanding and foster an environment where individuals feel comfortable expressing themselves regardless of their accent. Emphasizing the richness of diverse accents contributes to a more inclusive and tolerant society.
The last is conclusion. An accent refers to the way in which people pronounce words and phrases, often influenced by their native language, regional dialect, or linguistic background. It involves variations in pronunciations, intonations, and speech patterns that distinguish speakers from different geographic areas, cultural backgrounds, or language communities. Thank you. Okay, everyone, that's all the presentation from our groups today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.